To give an overview of Santorini, Santorini is mainly one crescent-shaped island that's facing west or a reverse capital C. And towards that center of the sea is a volcano. And at some point, this created the land masses and what's called a caldera, which is kind of a sinkhole. So all of the surface, basically, besides that reverse sea and a couple other spots, including that volcano, have sunken or are below water. Additionally, with that geography, the west side of Santorini is much, much higher than the east side. So going from one side to the other is quite a trek. And since the sun sets in the west and the elevation is higher in the west, it's definitely the better views. And so they build up the tourism, the more expensive places, the businesses, the restaurants are all on that side of the island. As you can see by all of the sailing lines in the sea that are all converging, pretty much everyone's journey at Santorini starts at Órmos Athiniós, unless you're traveling by plane to the airport. There's a bunch of stores and other rental areas, tourist shop, food, mini market that you can do either while you wait for your ferry or wait for your bus. And I would not recommend renting a car from here because you have to go up there. But some of the hotels that you can stay at will have transfer stations, so they'll get you to and from your hotel, and that's usually included in the price, and then you don't have to worry about the transportation or waiting so long here like everybody else is doing. So you can't really tell, but in order to get from what's called the new port in Santorini, because there's an old port in Thera, you have to go up these winding mountain roads, which are the equivalent of switchbacks in a hike, except you're on a giant Greyhound bus with all other cars, mopeds, and other vehicles going the opposite way until you get way up there. Good luck. Pyrgos Castle is the highest point in Santorini. It actually acts as kind of this maze of residential and a couple commercial and even abandoned buildings, and you're basically trying to find which way goes up in order to reach the top of it. first adventure in Santorini was my favorite part of Santorini. I would visit this island just for this feature, Skaros Rock. It's a rock formation that was previously a fortress in the 16th century, and it just had layers and layers of elevation of fortifications and walls to protect Santorini from its enemies. The hardest part of the hike isn't actually the hike itself, it's getting down there because just like anything else, it's a maze to figure out which way gets you down there and which way is somebody's house and which way is not allowed to go. But once you get down there, it's a pretty even, easy, maybe a little challenging hike. I mean, it's obviously not paved, but the terrain is easy enough to walk through wearing sandals, and you don't climb up all the way. There's a pretty limited range. You can go to the rock and around it and a little bit down, but it's not like climbing a mountain or switchbacks. Looking west of Santorini, you see the main volcano area, Tholos Nephilos, and just behind that is the hot spring Polyma Kalamini. And then beyond that, forming sort of the western circle of Santorini is Thera Θήρα. And this island is not very populated. It's not a stopping point for the major cruises. It also doesn't have much beaches, but it does give you an impressive view of Santorini. Although you could argue if you're on the southern or northern end, you can see Santorini, the other parts of it, from either of those sides. Additionally, if you have time, you could kayak, or if you want to see the whole island without as much effort, go on a catamaran or boat and circle the whole island. That would be the best way to see all of the shores, and that could actually be a good reference point to knowing where you want to go for the remainder of your vacation. Thanks for watching. Our next stop is Mykonos.